Welcome again. My name is Peter Boogaard. I have an analytical chemistry background, so I have domain knowledge. I mean, what you see a lot in our industry today is that you have a lot of people, they think they know, but they have never been there. I have been there. So I'm very pleased to be chairman again this time. I think it's my 4th or 5th time that I'm helping and chairing Congress like this, and I will tell you in the next slide why I believe this Congress has big potential. But you only will have potential if you invest. I'm part of the LIMS. When PerkinElmer introduced LIMS, there was a big fight. Who was the first with LIMS? In those days it was Beckman or PerkinElmer, instrument companies, because they thought in those days instruments should be connected. Well, believe me, 40 years later, they are still not. Today I'm running independent consulting business since 6 years. I'm organizer of the Paperless Lab Academy, that's in April, and a lot of international publications. And for those people who have seen the latest and greatest LIG, Laboratory Information Guide, I'm always publishing every year an article, and this year as well as one on the roadmap to digital convergence, which you see on the bottom. I'm a very active member of ISPE. How many people are familiar with the term ISPE? Couple. How many people are familiar with terms like GAMP? Significant more. That's the company, or that's the organization who creates GAMP guidelines. One of them. And I'm part of the data integrity special interest group. And we are working on that kind of stuff. And again, after work, sailing and music, since I'm Dutch, we have a lot of water. Why Peter? And that's the 2 slides on the bottom. A lot of people always look backwards, what happened in the past. A lot of consultants always look into what happens yesterday, and I can copy that again. I'm not one of those. I'm looking forward. Look to the new stuff. I'm a sailor. If you look backwards, you're on the rocks or on the sand in the Netherlands. So enough about me. Really want to do is about SmartLab. Why is this SmartLab? And I really want to share that with you from my personal experience. We get plenary sessions where there's a lot of content. You get B2B sessions. You all get your personal diary. Really execute on that. The think tank. That's the sessions which, when there is only a part is B2B sessions. There's also a second alternative. Think tank, really use that. Use the SmartLab app. There's a quiz number 9 for those people who are a little older. Number 9 was a great song on the White Album from the Beatles, so that's why I use that package. We will get more details from Nick later on, and after ending today with the reception networking. Key thing is network, talk, and if you have any question, let us or one of the organizers know how we can help you. That's the way where we can create more value out of this event. Good. Small introduction. Laboratories are evidence creators. A laboratory, every time I go to management at organizations, the first thing they ask, do we really need a laboratory? It's a cost center in many organizations. So the key thing is we have to realize in our scientific world that we are contributing to somebody else in organizations to help them with their business. In QA, we have to understand that the product is good. In research, we have to understand that IP is arranged, as examples. So very important to get that known. So we have data creators, which is typically in the lab here, and we get the data consumers, which can be regulators, which can be legal, which can be your formulator group in your organization, wherever you are. So it's important to have that mindset for today. SmartLab did invest and did some research with you guys, is to really identify what are your top priorities. And I looked at that, and this is a graph. And then I zoom in on the graph. And if I really look to the slide, on the movie, where Internet of Things, or Internet of Lab Things, how I call it, and the wearable devices, you see we are still relatively low compared to this. But more important, when I realized, and when I analyzed the survey, I used this slide. And I saw this list. This is the list which was requested. And if I look to this list and analyzing this list, I said, stop. We are mixing here technologies and capabilities. If I hear the words data standardization, for who? You do data, as an example, you do data standardization to connect A with B. So, and that is creating the value at the end. So think about the capabilities. And here I made a list about, the yellow is what I would call our capability types, and all the gray ones are really technologies. So think about the next 2 days, what you really need. How often are we saying we need a LIMS? But to do what? Maybe you don't need a LIMS, or maybe you need something else, or I need ELN, or whatever. Think about what you really want to do first. Good. Another report I've seen from McKinsey is about digital maturity, and I think we are really, the whole next 2 days is about that theme. And really, it's a benchmarking assessment, 18 characters, 18 management practices categorized in strategy, culture, organization, and capabilities. So I think it's important to understand that this is also where the next level up, when we're asking budget, when we want to do stuff, that's what they think about. That's how they got trained. So think about your laboratory operations and how that applies to this. And here you see where we are on the pharmaceutical. I know it's not only pharma here, but I zoomed out here on the pharma thing since that was mentioned here. And as usual, we always are behind. So it's important to realize that when we talk about digital maturity and we get the change, that we have to do quite a lot to get there. And here you see the pharma companies face barriers. Strategy, culture, and organizations. We will get in the next 2 days a lot of presentations on products, on strategies, on behavior. And so really think about that and map that to your organization in your environment. Having said that, this was the next picture of last week, which I think was great. On the bottom, you will see the clouds in the valley, and really on the top, the other clouds. And I call this the window of clouds. And hereby, I really like to introduce Michael, opening the window for the next 2 days with his keynote presentation. Michael, all yours.